Little bro
That
like hit
wild.
play on his MacBook and then just took a handle of whiskey and started dancing.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, that's how I want to make my money.
There's a lot of ways to make money, Rabbit Troop Sucks fans. And welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. We are a podcast of obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. And today, we have a bunch of people talking about 1985's The Stuff. That's right.
Stuff.
If you are playing a drinking game, Rabbit Troop Sucks fans, well, tonight's your night. Because I think every time we mention goo, or maybe goo for double shots, you're going to get drunk real quick. So you might want to pace yourself. As always, I am Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Hi.
Next to Mike is Lamar.
Goo.
There we go. Shot one.
Starting it off strong.
There's Jeremy.
Hello.
And there's Collin.
Hey.
Lots of goo talk.
So much goo.
Yeah, I hope just in our group text chat, all of you appreciated the 2006 reference to the Super Soakers that I sent you.
I did
awful.
like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was funny because I recently saw it pop up, and the meme was 2006 was wild. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, this is fitting because clearly my phone listens to every word I say. And now I'm getting goo-related like adverts.
yeah.
So great. And digging up some memories of Super Soaker past. Well, I did want to note a couple things here. So this upcoming Saturday, on Saturday, September 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., it is the Aurora Minicon. And Mike and I will be part of that, representing Rabbit Troop Sucks. We will be discussing secret things as a panelist, so come and see us. Comics, cosplay, gaming, and more. The Aurora Public Library is thrilled to return the annual Minicon in person for the first time since 2019. Aurora Minicon is a free festival featuring comics, cosplay, and all things pop culture, and it will be bigger than ever before. Again, Saturday, September 23rd, the Central Library. This free family event includes superheroes, comic-themed crafts and activities, panel discussions, exhibits. We are part of those panel discussions, exhibits, gaming, and a cosplay costume contest. This year's event will feature over 50 vendors, multiple food trucks, special guests, and much more. Join the fun Saturday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Aurora Central Library, 14949 East Alameda Avenue, 80012. And thanks again for our friend Keith for inviting us. We are representing Keith, where he will also be a panelist through the Aurora History Museum. So thank you. Hope to see you there. And then this leads me to a question. And this isn't like an antagonistic question. Jeremy has a list of movies. Collin has been noting some movies to us. And so I feel if anyone's picking a movie, because it used to just be Mike and myself, and then Lamar started picking some movies, and you guys have started picking some movies, which is awesome. Jeremy, why this one? And again, this is not like some weird antagonist, like why? I would ask anyone. I think that's going to be always one of the questions I ask. If one of you guys are picking it, why this one?
So I think this is just a real fun movie. It's not a great movie by any means. It's not going to win any awards, but it's a fun movie, and the characters are very interesting. And there are just some things that are so hilarious in this movie that take place. It was a fun one to watch.
Oh yeah,
it'll be fun to talk about.
The chance events, I think, is going to be the real discussion throughout this film. Just chance happenings, and all you D&D fans, you're rolling natural 20s. All the time, because if anything bad happens to you in this movie and you're a lead, things are going to go out pretty quick. But yeah, go for it.
I think this entire movie is an allegory to cocaine use in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd buy
white
that.
stuff? Yeah, totally. Well, let me just lead right into the first IMDb summary I could find. The Stuff, 1985, a delicious, mysterious goo. That's right. That oozes from the earth is marketed as the newest dessert sensation. But the tasty treat rots more than teeth when zombie-like snackers who only want to consume more of the strange substance at any cost begin infesting the world. Goo.
You kind of mentioned it earlier. I think this movie would actually make a great drinking game.
Oh, God. Yes. Collin, is it just goo, or are you saying like when the stuff makes an appearance? Well, how do you want this drinking game to work?
There's like just the way that there were abrupt cuts. Like maybe every time someone arrives somewhere inexplicably, every time some random guy gets punched in the face.
Yes,
that happens a ton. There's a bunch of stuff that could be anything from a sip to finish your drink.
Nice.
Maybe you shouldn't make a drinking game out of this. There's so much stuff that happens a lot.
Well, yeah.
You're going to get shit-faced 10,
Maybe you have to
15
write
minutes
down all of Collin's situations that he noted, like, for example, random punch in face, but then you have to, like, pull it out of a hat. So, like, the next drink you have is, like, you pull that out, that's double drinking. But you pull, like, another event out, like, you're safe for that round. Like, maybe, I don't know, the goo giveth and taketh away.
There you go. There's your $1 billion business. You make drinking games out of movies and you sell them as like a card game at Target.
Why are we talking about this online? TM. 2023 Rabbit Troop sucks. TM.
There we go. Cover all your bases.
Boom.
I like
That was official. That is
go.
officially how you do it.
Nice.
Yeah. This has everyone seen this movie before? Collin, have you seen this one?
No.
Okay. Lamar, have you seen this one?
I feel like I have, but I absolutely have not. Maybe I've seen a Twilight Zone episode that this is based off of, maybe, or maybe I've read a story or a book. It reminds me of something.
Some parts of this did remind me of like a Doctor Who.
I want to say Soylent Green. It shares very similar plot lines to it, but it's fairly different. It also reminds me of a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode called The Game. I don't know if anyone in here remembers that episode, but there's parts of it that are very reminiscent of just one crew member who is very alert of what's happening and everybody else just sucking in, eating this stuff, or in the case of Star Trek, they're playing this game. It's very similar. I want to say that I've seen this similar plot line along sci-fi stories along times.
Hear me out. Let's merge a little bit of this together. We have Star Trek, and we have the stuff. And what I'm hearing is missed opportunity. Danny Aiello as a Star Trek captain. It would have been
I can't see it.
It would have been a very different journey into the beyond.
That journey would have been very abrupt.
Those frontiers would have been very profane and angry.
Very much.
Someone I worked with was friends with Danny Aiello at one of my former jobs, and she said her son, Danny Aiello, was his godfather. I was like, that is awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's super, super cool. I always remember that, and the dude still lives here, so that's super awesome. I like Danny Aiello. Can't imagine him, though, as a Star Trek captain. But a Jedi, hear me out.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
It's not.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of people in this movie that I honestly don't know. There are people that I've seen throughout. Jeremy, you said one of the reasons you picked this movie is because you like some of the characters, you like the story.
Yeah.
I'm going to highlight that I feel... How do I want to say this? I hate that he switches names. Mo or David.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
pick a lane with the names. And I blame not the actor, but the writers.
Yeah.
So,
I have a note about that, actually.
So he goes under David Mo Rutherford. Half the people call him David later in the movie, but not initially, which is Nicole, always referencing him as David. I guess if you're dating, which somehow it just happens, then he's David, but everyone else he's Mo. But this dude, all throughout this movie, has a very compelling job for me.
Corporate saboteur.
Yeah.
Who talks like Foghorn Leghorn for some reason.
But also always has like the one-up. Like he's such a good researcher, or like he like digs deep into people. They're like, that's his superhero power. Like, it's almost like I know everything about you. That's how good of a researcher I am. So when people are like, you did blank, he's like, well, you did 5 things. And they're like, yeah, hey, how are you doing, buddy? Like, don't worry about it. So I like his, like, Jedi manipulation, i.e. blackmailing of people in this movie, but heavy-handed allusions to it that, hey, I'm only doing this for the greater good. And everyone knows I was a weird dude in the FBI and they fired me and now I go around hired by corporations to dig up dirt and ruin you, or we get the better of you. So I thought this was like an interesting character. Like what a weird backdrop. Like this guy could have been a nobody, but they really could kind of flesh this dude out. Everyone else we might have a different conversation about.
That's true.
They spent all their time with this one character.
Well,
and gave everyone else zero backstory.
I could already tell in my heart Mike's favorite character is going to be the boy Jason. I just think Mike is going to love that kid and his little shenanigans and his little tomfoolery scamping around all throughout this movie. I'm looking at Mike.
That kid was a wild card for me. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like him at all. I mean, I've seen this movie and I enjoy this movie. His face looks like he has an old man face on like a boy's body, and I found that very distracting. I don't know.
He's an odd Charlie.
Yeah,
an odd Jason.
No, my favorite character is. Well, I'll talk about it when we get there.
I didn't know his name was Jason, and I made a note about this until 58 minutes into the movie.
Same here.
I kept calling him the kid. It was the kid.
Yeah, all my notes reference him to the kid.
Well, his brother, I believe, is referenced as Jason's brother. That's I think the IMDb.
Which is an appropriate name.
Or brother.
brother.
Yeah, it
There
just
are
might be
actually many names in this movie that I didn't get until 50 minutes in. So the main girl, I didn't know her name until 58 minutes in. Jason,
you don't
same
know her
thing.
name.
Yeah. Mo, right away. He has a presence.
Because
in
he
this
says
movie.
it 85 times.
That's true, and everybody calls him Mo.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just kid,
Mo money.
man, woman.
Well, let's actually open on the film. So we open up in kind of this dark night situation where it's a mining operation. That's kind of what it looks
It's
like.
like a quarry or something.
Yeah, God knows.
And they have elderly men for their security personnel.
Elderly men with weird motives. So there's a bunch of white goo on the floor. And
right away.
And a security
It's bubbling
guard,
up out of the ground.
Right, a security guard or maybe a random employee. I don't know what this man's role is, but he seems like he should be there. Mm-hmm. He's walking the quarry. And he's like, oh, there's a bunch of white goo oozing from the ground.
What am I going to do?
I'm going to pick up a handful and put it in my mouth.
I'm just going to eat this. Because that's the natural reaction when you see something unknown bubbling from the ground.
And that's going to be the tone of this movie.
Yeah.
So I understand, honestly, when you eat the goo, that might be then the following reaction that you're immediately addicted. But nowhere in this movie does it indicate that you are drawn to the substance without eating it. You just saw white goo on the floor.
You got to have that goo, man.
Well, no one packed you lunch or dinner.
Right off the bat, this stuff looks like that. It looks like that's marshmallow fluff
it does
stuff.
look like marshmallow fluff. Yeah.
So if you're picturing what this stuff looks like, it's exactly what it looks like out of that tub. Who makes that stuff? It looks disgusting. In this movie, it looks kind of more liquidy. Yeah. It's more tolerable.
Yeah, it's like if you put it in the microwave for a couple seconds.
There you go.
Yeah.
The marketing.
In the trivia, they said they made the goo out of various things, ice cream, yogurt, and a blended fish bones that smelled like shit. Apparently,
yeah. I read that as well. Why?
Exactly. You just stop right there. Why?
No. That was a little treat for Jason. They didn't really like what was going on. Do you know part of the trivia for Gremlins, Jeremy, is the animatronics guys were so fed up with the Gizmo animatronics that in between sets they would actually torture them, and that's where you got the torture scenes.
Really?
Yeah, that they were this is a piece of garbage, and we just they would throw darts at it and crazy stuff. Or maybe it wasn't that exactly, but they would do horrendous things to it just out of frustration.
That's sick.
So yeah,
but I mean, they were using fire extinguisher stuff. Ice cream. At what point was someone we need to reinvent the goo? Give me some fish bones.
Where do you get all these fish bones?
That was the stabilizer. Where don't you get the fish
They couldn't
bones?
find like fucking cornstarch or anything.
They rolled up to the local fish market and they're like, I need some fish bones. The guy's like, for money? Okay. You could have that whole bag right there. And they're like, cool, we're going to have some people eat it. Don't put my name on that. But thank you for the money.
Yeah, no refunds.
Sign this document here. This is a waiver.
Hey, I got a quick question for you guys. I'm not a fan of marshmallows, or by chance. I don't know if any of you are, but would you have eaten this stuff if you seen it? I know it's just bubbling out of the ground.
100% not.
Yeah, I mean, but
Are you saying, like, would we have eaten it if it was at the store and, like, packaged the way we had seen it?
yeah.
Okay, because I'm not eating shit coming out of the ground.
No,
like,
yeah.
that's gonna answer that. Like,
Right.
like no. But,
Right on.
I mean, but if, I don't know, like, Collin rolled up and was like, hey, guys, like, we're making ice cream sundaes like we do at Rabbit Troop Sucks. And he's like, I brought this. I would probably totally put it on my ice
Yeah,
cream.
it was like a
Eat it as a
topping?
topping.
Sure,
you wouldn't
yeah.
just start grabbing it out.
Oh God, I would not. Yeah, be like spooning it
Yeah,
out,
there
like,
you
go. Yeah.
like I'm eating a pint of ice cream or anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't rub a waffle against a tree to try to get syrup or anything. So
I think it's because I never like really loved marshmallows, and just this stuff just looks just bad to me. And I know other people just love marshmallows, like, oh, I love s'mores and all that. And it's just like none of this stuff looks appealing to me. But everybody
It
just
just
seems
takes
like this-
one taste, though.
Yeah,
one
once you
taste,
have one
and
taste.
Everybody
it's
just
gotcha.
looks at it and eats it right away, except for the kid, which
yeah.
we'll get into.
Well, that's why I was like, why the hell is this guy just eating ooze out of the
He
ground?
just looked
Yeah.
right at it and fuck.
Well, it had to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the MacGuffin.
Well,
Sure.
I mean, maybe the Enterprise had already been established at this point, and this was just one of the workers who was already addicted to the goo.
No, because he didn't know what was. Neither of them. They're both like, "What is this?" And the guy even says,
okay.
"Like, came bumbling it up out of the ground."
I'm
He's like, "Oh no!"
assuming one of these guys is later another guy.
Oh, wait, so he's patient zero for the goo.
And patient zero.
They're all
See,
patient
I think-
else.
I think it was just some security guard.
I totally
that saw
agree.
this shit,
Yeah.
ate it, and then like the next day they have the meeting with whatever the executives on that boat.
Oh, I thought
You
this
know,
was
'cause, like,
exposition
otherwise-
to the past. Like, they
Well,
just,
yeah, 'cause
they're the
otherwise
first
that
ones
would be
who
like
discovered
60
it.
years in the past. Because I mean, they have a major distribution network
Yeah, this-
up and running. That takes some time.
I thought these were the security guards who discovered it maybe like in the 70s, and then maybe years later they become these owners and
The
we'll
goo
get to this
barons?
later. Yeah, I thought they were the goo barons who were later.
I totally didn't.
Yeah,
think
we'll
that
get to
all-
that later, and
I mean,
we'll reveal this.
If that's the
because one of them looks
no,
like
no,
Yoda.
no,
Yeah?
no, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Lamar would be incorrect because they don't eat the goo. That happens at the end. That's the end of the film.
Oh yeah.
So it could not be those guys. Even
Okay.
though, so basically Lamar just wrote a better storyline.
God damn it!
That's true. Yeah.
I bought it. I wrote a better storyline and a better plot hole. God damn it!
Well, just know one of my side comments after Collin noted this: tree waffles. So I'm pretty sad. Well, let's get into the next 40 seconds of the film. Jason, the boy, wakes up in bed,
And he's all fucking itchy for some reason.
yeah, and he's just like shuts the windows, and he looks like he woke up from a long night of drinking, or he's on like a drug bender.
Got the bender.
He's got the pox.
Yeah, it's like super weird, and it just seems hot and stuffy in that room. I want to get out as a viewer. It's very weird. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. He goes downstairs.
I note that he has a Return of the Jedi pillow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch
This
that.
is on his pillowcase.
And he goes to the fridge to look for like a snack, and he sees the stuff, which is now a product, and it's moving around,
Yeah,
and he freaks
Yeah.
out, as one would,
As you naturally would.
not just like, you know what, I'll taste this.
Like, oh shit, I'm gonna eat that.
I'm gonna reference this throughout because I love this thread, and I did record a couple, but I know I'm jumping ahead. But the stuff is now in the refrigerator, and one thing I love about this film, and a fun back-to-back movie would be this and They Live.
They're the same movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how marketing works, how this is all running through like the mainstream. And so what's kind of fun all throughout this movie, and we'll get to it, sort of soon, but again, I'm jumping ahead. Stuff's already in the refrigerator, and that's what it's called, the stuff. And Jason's like, what's going on here? But very quickly, it's like in every radio jingle, there's commercials and such. And I recorded a couple of the commercials, and here's one of them.
Ooh, is it the little
Nice.
girl one?
Well, I didn't hear shit.
That's nice. Where's the stuff? She's here now. Just sensation, light and free now. Elevation, enough is never enough. Enough is never enough of the stuff. The stuff, the taste that makes you hungry for more. The stuff, taste that delivers. Enough is never enough. Enough is never enough of the stuff.
Of the stuff.
Of the stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the one where the woman's like, when I was a little girl, there's nothing I like more than ice cream. Now I'm a big girl.
Oh yeah, that's the next scene.
Yeah.
Clearly a reference to the where's the beef lady who came
yeah.
out around the
Yeah.
same time around that. I kind of like
Yeah.
that. But you have to see it visually because the look on her face, she was as visibly angry to the point of rage when he asked, is everything all right? And she's like,
Well,
where's the stuff?
well, going back, this kid is, going through the fridge. I want something to eat. And dad's kind of, going around. I think it's at this point in time, right? Like, he's going through the fridge. Dad's, like, also coming down at some point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
and his dad's an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
straight up dick.
before the stuff and extra after the stuff. And the kid kind of turns around and sees his dad and then looks back for a second and the stuff moves. Like, it like, clearly moves, like Ghostbuster style. Like, you're like, oh my God, like, the stuff has moved. Kid definitely saw it. And the dad makes, light of this. You're tired, get out of here, why are you even here? He's really angry that his kid's, like, getting some food.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the situation in the house is, but...
Well, he was really upset because he thought there was a burglar. He didn't consider that he had children in the house and they
Right.
might be hungry.
I think he was even more angry than that. That's not he wasn't irrationally angry.
That was his stated reason.
That was a stated reason, that's right.
Yeah, and then the dad just starts chowing down on some stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, stuff. It's never enough.
Maybe he was already a
Gobble it
victim
up.
of the stuff, and that's why he was so cranky.
That,
Yeah, he's in the beginning
I mean,
stages.
that
Yeah.
could be very possible.
But then you would think he would have wanted the dumb kid to eat the stuff.
Yeah, but
Like, well, while you're down here...
well, there's a couple back and forth moments with the stuff because sometimes people are like, "You want my stuff?" Oh no, like this is my stuff. But then I guess there is like, but then there's like the family unit. Like we eat stuff as a family, but everyone else knows stuff. Like
No.
family gets the stuff. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. You could bond over the stuff.
Knowing what we know now in the movie, it's kind of interesting going back and watching it. Like, if you didn't know what's going on, you're kind of watching and seeing, why is this stuff so weird? Why is the dad freaking out this much? And it's kind of interesting how the story billows up to what the main reason is behind this stuff.
Yeah, and then we were shown directly, and that's why I wanted to jump ahead just a little bit. We start seeing threaded all throughout the movie stuff commercials, and then you see pan away shots of stuff restaurants or stuff vendors or all the stuff that's being sold at the stores and stuff like that. And then we get to meet David Mo Rutherford, who is being interviewed by basically like some CEO of a company who wants to find out the ingredients of what the stuff are. And he is being hired as an industrial spy, which I think is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by Big Ice Cream.
Yeah.
I think it was mentioned that 90% of this movie is hard cuts to the next scene.
Yes.
And the scene was set up with a hard cut to this business meeting on a yacht.
Yeah, they're on a boat.
Well, we're about to get into one of Collin's double drinking whammies.
There we go.
Because we find out who Mo Rutherford is. Like, he was hired. The FDA can't really find out the ingredients of the stuff, but it's selling a lot. This guy used to work for the FBI. They're like, I don't know really about you. All these stuffy old men on this yacht. He's like, really? Well, I met you yesterday, and I bugged all of you, and I know everything about everything. And then he just turns around, and boom, what does he do, Collin?
He punches the guy in the face.
Well,
That
they give him
punches
a,
some guy.
they give him a check first.
Well, of course.
And then he's like, thanks for the check. I'm going to punch you in the face. He also
He really didn't like that guy, though.
he also has my favorite line of the movie when he's like, telling him he knows everything about them. I mean, they're like, you're not as dumb as you look. He's like, sir, no one is as dumb as I sound.
That was a good lie.
Yeah.
I had that in my notes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was super weird. I don't know what's going on, but I'm super intrigued by Mo or David, however we reference them. Then again, another hard cut. We get to see Jason The family's sitting around eating stuff. Side note, here's your trivia. Jason's brother, listed as Jason's brother, is his real life brother. So good times.
All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's real life. So they're sitting around chatting. The family is, yes, at the early stages of eating this addictive goo.
Yeah, we see all the normal food is like in the trash can.
Yeah.
You don't need
And,
food.
and they just have cabinets full of goo.
And later, I now want to start implementing this now. When people get addicted to this stuff, later the Colonel just references them as stuffies. So I really appreciate that.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie is they start calling people stuffies.
I had to go pull up like the script and quotes and stuff to make sure that that's what they were saying because it was so out of place. It came out of nowhere.
It's kind of like in The Walking Dead when they call them just walkers instead of zombies. It's like stuffies.
The stuffies.
That's how I felt when I was watching this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like the Colonel very much.
Oh, yeah.
I like him until he mentions something.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fair.
So, Jeremy, have you ever seen like what is considered like the best worst film, Troll 2?
Yes, I have seen Troll 2. I actually recently just watched Troll 1, but I have not seen Troll 2 in a long time.
Troll 1, I would actually gladly do for this podcast. It's a super bizarre movie.
It is.
There's like
Really
a lot,
bizarre.
Yeah, like a lot of reasons why it could be fun. But there's a scene that is kind of reminds me of what happens almost in this. So in Troll 2, the food is poisoned. Or basically, like, when people eat it, they turn into trolls. And then the trolls turn them into vegetables and eat them. It's very bizarre. But the main kid in Troll 2 realizes this, so he jumps on the table and pisses all over the food. Like, so, Jeremy, imagine one of your kids tomorrow, you're just eating dinner, and before you put a bite in your mouth, your kid just jumps up on the table, pulls his pants out, and pisses like a sprinkler all over your table. That's what happens in Troll 2. This kid, Jason, in this movie has a similar tantrum. He goes ape shit with the stuff. Like, I don't understand his
outrage.
outrage. Yeah, knocks it out. He's like, no, and just runs out the door.
Yeah, he has a little hissy fit.
Right.
And I like the mom starts cleaning it up. She's like, oh, it doesn't stain.
Yeah.
Tastes great, low calories, and doesn't stain.
It reminds me also, so pissing on the table, and it also reminds me of a story that Jerry Seinfeld told in the show Seinfeld. He goes, oh, I once found a hair in my farina, and I got up and I freaked out, and I ran and I ran and I ran, and I collapsed, and they found me at a construction site. Like, that was a story. Like,
I love that.
Well, what the hell was that? But that's that kid in the stuff. He goes just shithouse wild, not a fan of the stuff.
Yeah. That seems a little
Like
later, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Real stuffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
good.
I got us to now like a rival company is doing some stuff.
There's a couple hard cuts here, and one is like
This is a lab scene.
Yeah,
coming
Mo
up.
is in a lab with like his lackeys who were never really explained.
I love Mo's lab. Yeah, Mo apparently. So this guy who's hired as an industrial spy and saboteur, pretty much as Mike has noted, because it is kind of one and the same. It's to ruin one company and give the trade secrets to the other. That this guy has his own lab going, like independent. Also, it seems that the money they have been giving him, because he starts like hiring people. He's like, you're going to work for me, and I'm going to hire this. I'm like, I have a bigger limousine. Like, there's a lot of stuff said. I'm like, what? Where's the money coming
There's
from?
a lot of good
Are you
money
Bruce
in
Wayne?
industrial
Yeah,
sabotage.
I have
gotta
no
spend money
idea
to
where
make
he
money.
gets his money to
Was it-
sublet these agents, but he gets it.
Was it established that this was his? I assumed it was
I think
like
there
the
was
scientists from the ice cream.
Yeah, there were people he was
So did I.
working with, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Colin,
Well, he
thought
kind
that-
of double dips too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he double dips.
Well-
He's getting paid from both ends.
Well,
yeah.
Colin, I thought that at first too. Like, oh, he's probably going to a lab. But there's something said later in the film where he's like visiting it, and he's like, "Hey, Steve," like he's like very friendly. He's like, "Steve's running some results for me," and they're
Hey,
like,
Steve.
Yeah, really made me think like it's this dude's employee. Like, what is going
He
on?
has a
well,
good rapport.
Yeah, I mean, he literally does that every single room he enters. He tells people what to do. He shuts down the commercial.
Well, of
That's
course,
true,
because this opening move is, I know 5 dirty things that are going to ruin your life. How are you doing? Fine, Mr. Rutherford.
The shutting
How
down the
can-
commercial was great.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the next scene.
I'm assuming he has credentials because he's an ex-FBI agent. That
his credentials are punching people.
Well, his credentials
Yeah.
allow him to get through white-collar business meetings really easily and punch random people, and he's fine with that.
It's very much like a 70s, like just go into a room and be confident, and then everyone will kind of just do what you say.
Right.
Well, I think in the 80s, if you wore a suit and cowboy boots, like you could do anything you wanted, really.
Well, and he does. I mean, he goes to this commercial shoot where it's for the stuff, and like within 5 minutes of being there, he's shut the commercial down. Everyone's cool with it, and he's going to have sex with the director.
Whoa.
Like just zero to that.
Yo, so we don't know. He's like hooking up with the director Nicole, but then like instantaneously, like 5 minutes later in the movie, it's clear that they're just dating. So this is what happens. He rolls up to this commercial. It is established later, and I have to go back in my notes. Nicole is the director of these commercials. In addition, like, she is in charge of marketing and research. She's at like a lot of hats this woman is wearing. Like,
right.
She is very involved with like marketing and research, investigation. She's trying to sell it. Like, she knows a lot about these companies. So he rolls up and he's like, does he say like, I'm from a petroleum company or something?
Yeah.
And he goes, and he's like saying weird stuff, and he's like, yeah, let's just like shut down the commercial right now. And she's like, why? He's like, well, I'm going to hire you. We're going to fire everyone else. We're getting out of here.
He's like, I'm going to buy your company and put you in charge. Like, she's like, the company that I'm in charge of now?
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to put you in charge.
Own this place?
Yeah, and we're going to go out to dinner later. And they do. And then there's another hard cut. And there's a grocery store. And Jason wins again.
Oh, boy.
Everyone's buying stuff. So this looks like it's, a Black Friday, 5 a.m, old school Walmart. Like, everyone's going crazy. They're buying the stuff. Jason sees it and just goes ballistic.
Oh, yeah. He's got like a fucking
you
rake.
thought the breakfast scene was bad? He goes way beyond on this one.
He's going ballistic.
I think he initiates it. He sees a kid just eating some of the stuff.
Oh, knocks that out.
He slaps
He's
it
like,
right out
no,
of
he
his hand.
slaps out of it. And my favorite scene in this whole
breaking
movie
glass.
is when he
It takes
knocks
like
over
5 or
a
6
granola bar stand.
Yeah, trying to run away. He totally just eats it.
He just eats it right on the floor. I feel like
It takes like
he
5
really
people
did
to
that.
take him down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He sees it, and you see him pause, and it is not established at all. But it's like he has The Shining, like, or in The Simpsons,
Yes.
The Shinin. It's like ba na 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 na, and he sees it, and he just like senses so much evil that he's compelled to destroy it.
Right.
And by destroy it, it's
Christ compels him.
getting like a rake and going insane.
Where did he get that rake? He had a rake all of a sudden. He was just raking down stuff off the ceiling. Like,
It's going to kill you all.
This is the greatest.
You just say that it's gonna kill you all.
Possessed by a demon scene ever,
And he
even
doesn't know
trumping The Exorcist.
Mike, look at my notes. How does he know that?
Yeah.
And then I wrote, has he seen this film?
He doesn't know it's going to kill him.
Yeah.
The goo doesn't kill anybody.
Right. I mean, so that's part of the bad writing, clearly. I mean, again, there's tons of bad writing. This movie is a ton of fun as well. But yeah, like, this should have been established. The goo should have moved more. He should have seen someone's eyes glow. I don't know. Something should have happened, but he's really hot for the goo.
He jumped to conclusions right away.
He did, yeah.
He was shouting out, "It's gonna kill you all!" at the top of his lungs in the grocery
He does.
store. And all he got was grounded.
Yeah.
Then we have a hard cut again.
Hard cuts all over.
Mo going to Danny Aiello's house, who is Mr. Vickers.
Yeah.
Danny Aiello has been in a ton of great films. One of my all-time favorite films,
Hudson Hawk.
which we should do.
I love Hudson Hawk.
I know
you do, really?
I noted
yes.
on page 1 we should do Hudson Hawk. That is
Okay.
one of my first notes.
Okay.
But Danny Aiello, one of my favorite movies, Leon the Professional. He's in that.
Yep.
He's Sal in Do the Right Thing. He's been in amazing movies, and so it's kind of funny to see him here. And usually, I feel Danny Aiello is part of an ensemble. Like, it's usually not him as the lead who's dominating, and that's the case here. But now I'm like, wow, Danny Aiello, you're the biggest star of this movie, so that's something to kind of say.
He's in it for 3 minutes.
Yes, but probably the most notable person.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a big weirdo.
Yeah, he's like one of the FDA guys who approved this.
Yeah,
and everyone else that was involved in its creation has mysteriously disappeared
Or on vacation.
or on vacation. So he's trying to track down leads.
And he's got an odd dog.
He's got a
named,
dog who
Ben.
One of my favorite parts of this movie is after this scene when Mo leaves and the dog unplugs the phone so that he can't call for help.
This dog was awesome. I
was
love
great,
that whole
yeah.
scene.
This is a huge Doberman
Yeah.
picture.
You're not making any calls.
Here's the thing. I don't understand, though, Danny Aiello's character. So he's talking like a robot, which makes sense. And I wrote down a couple quotes. Like, so yeah, he's like, why did this get approved? He was part of the FDA. And he says things very robotically. If there is no use to forbid a product, we approve it. Just like these very vague statements. But here's the thing. He's eating the stuff. It is established. He's eating the stuff.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah, there's some
Why is he giving away like stuff secrets and his dog master, who's clearly eating the stuff, doesn't like it? So when you eat the stuff,
Well, it's the stuff to weight ratio with the dog.
So
It's being affected more rapidly.
yeah. So I think what we haven't established maybe to listeners is when you eat the stuff, you basically become of hive mind. Like everything is to make more stuff, eat the stuff, get out the stuff, but you still want to eat the stuff. So what I'm saying is like, I don't know why Danny Aiello was like, here's the deal, buddy. Like on the side, he says a couple like wink, wink things.
Yeah.
And then the dog's like, "Rrr." He's like, no, Ben, it's okay. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, yeah. So maybe is it the goo ratio? But it seems like he's just been eating the stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, they clearly set up that the FDA approved this product to go to stores with little oversight, probably some bribing and other underhanded stuff, and then he's more than willing to kind of give them information and share that he was part of that process.
I kind of feel that...
at the same time, kind of being defensive about it, too, being like... You know,
there's like also a huge room. Like Mo opens a room, and it's like a bedroom of stuff. Like it's just like...
That's the kitchen, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like stacked to the top, so it's super weird.
Maybe the stuff was all for the dog. Maybe he wasn't.
Well, he
eating
does.
the
He's
stuff.
feeding the dog the stuff, too.
Yeah,
And the
okay.
dog
Yeah, I
has
didn't-
been fully consumed
I
by
had
it.
questions about this scene.
I feel like he wasn't fully... He's just conscious enough to let him know, hey, this stuff is doing some evil stuff. I'm trying to warn you.
But he's like, I feed
This-
my dog.
But his dog
This
is
scene was
fully
made
invested
so
in
that
this
they could
stuff.
put Danny Aiello in the in the titles.
Right.
Maybe that too.
And then another
Like,
hard
we
cut.
gotta- we
Mo's
gotta
hanging
put him in
around, like,
somewhere.
a stuff shack.
Yeah, I may have gotten up to get like a beer or something. I was very confused by this transition because he's at like a gas station and he gets attacked.
It's like
by
a stuff retail, like a Silkies. Like you go to like an ice cream shop
Yeah.
and selling stuff,
And
and
then
it's like 2:30 in the morning, and people are just like, "Yeah, we're getting more stuff."
But then right back to Danny Aiello's, where the dog's now attacking him
and
Yeah.
pulling out the phone cord.
and eating him.
I loved the like final death bite where he just kind of goes in, like, in reality he kind of goes in and just licks his face a little bit.
Well, he was a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you guys were saying, then another hard cut. Mo's at a gas station.
This is the introduction
Stater, Virginia.
to my favorite character.
Yeah, this is as soon as I saw this. Well, I'm gonna say two things, and this is not the version I like. We noted this before in the last movie, Carrie Russell. I said I recently watched Waitress with my wife, and I was like, I love that movie, and she was great. I love any movie with small towns, and this is the opposite. This is the in Big Fish. You see the duality, like the small town that I love, but then you see when he goes back, and like the memories are a little different of the small town, and you see like. Now it's overrun. That's the Big Fish small town that I'm seeing here. Like Stephen King's It. 2 people live in this town. It's run down as all hell. I would totally keep driving. Like, once I got gas, it would just be you got to keep going. But this guy's investigating it.
I don't know why he's here.
Yeah.
So
But
it's a small town that's like 2 buildings and like 1 person operating it, and weeds have overgrown the whole thing, and it's just deserted.
Isn't this close to the factory, Mike? I think he's going to.
No.
Dude, I have no
not.
idea.
No.
No. So this, like, he is here because Vickers, when they were having their conversation, was like, he was being asked about like these FDA guys that moved, that like after they approved this thing,
That's
they
right.
moved to this town, and he's going to like talk to them, but they're so that's why
Everyone's
he's
dead
there.
or on vacation.
Right.
Yeah, and then he talks to this gas station attendant for a little bit.
And then that guy
and
runs off into the
he
woods.
just
Yeah.
he looks around. And he's like, "Oh, that car over there. Like, it seems mysterious. Do you know anything about it?" The gas station guy just takes off into the woods.
Yeah, that guy just
Oh my god!
runs off. That was super.
Yeah.
And then,
But yeah.
then we get probably what I'm assuming is Mike's actual favorite character.
Correct.
Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Yeah. Who comes in with
Oh
a
my
vicious
God.
karate attack.
So I want to open with this. I am looking at. I can't think of who would it be comparable to? Who's the big cookie guy?
Famous Amos.
So basically, Chocolate Chip Charlie is supposed to be Famous Amos. And somewhere here, in my not 1985 perspective, I'm like, this already seems kind of racist. And by kind of in my face racist, and I can't fully pinpoint it. And then throughout the movie, I'm thinking this, and just note, later, the Colonel just opens full racism.
That's correct, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Like, okay, so the Colonel just wrote this character. There's some weird stuff going on.
Can we talk about who Chocolate Chip Charlie is and why he's involved in this?
Yes, we can.
Because I genuinely don't know.
So,
Thank
yes,
you. Okay.
Chocolate
Okay.
Chip
I thought I missed
Charlie.
something.
Yeah,
Chocolate-
he's mentioned at the beginning on the boat meeting.
Chocolate Chip Charlie
Yeah.
is the like model in the face of this company. And he is part of the company that owned the stuff. They kicked him off, and he is pissed off because the company is making all of this money, but used him and his likeness to market all of these things.
I see.
But then they never showed any of that.
No, we never
No,
see
they
that.
don't. It's just
No.
He's just
It's
like a
mentioned
disgraced-
in like literally 7 seconds of conversation,
Yeah.
and
He-
then that's it.
I think he
Okay.
notes more that like he's the face, but I think the real nudge is he wants his money because he did have stock in the company,
So ma-
and they took that away.
So, like, pre-stuff, he was the face of whatever company owns
Yes.
the stuff.
Yeah.
He was
But then when
Chocolate
the
Chip
stuff
Charlie.
came in, they're like, we don't need you anymore.
and you're getting zero money.
And you're fired. No severance.
And that is his only motive in this film, yes.
some
Okay.
kind of Zuckerberg situation
Yeah, okay.
going on there.
And he spent his time since then learning karate.
Yes. And then they're quickly at a gas station, and I note that there's a bunch of tangy taffy in the background.
I
don't
could
know
go
why.
for some tangy taffy.
I love that.
From a
Yeah.
gas station in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the best kind.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I have sneaks out somewhere, everyone sees.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, they're talking and then some
that's right.
thugs show up and they have to escape in a boat.
Yes.
But this is also, I think, the first time we see someone's face get punched in and their head
Yeah.
just explodes.
Jaw
They
falls
just
off.
like it collapses in on itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the gas station dude like comes back with a bunch of thugs, and they're like, "We got to get out of here." And
Well, no. So
Oh, wait.
the gas station guy goes into the back room and dies.
that's
and
right.
so they run. They have a little conversation.
Well, they're in the post office.
Yeah, the post
right
office
now.
guy.
Oh, is
The
that what it
post
is?
office guy.
And I
Yeah.
actually got part of the conversation. The only thing Chocolate Chip Charlie knows better than fighting is running.
Nice.
The dialogue here was super funny. Before they went in there, he was like, they were discussing how they wanted to deal with him after he walked in the back room, and he's like, we could just hit him on the head. And Mo's like, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I love the team up. And then Mike's right. This is insane. They start fighting a crowd of people. Chocolate Chip Charlie is kicking ass. Mo is
Yeah.
too. And then they run to a side boat, which I note is very similar to escaping the ring wraiths in Lord of the Rings. That they
Was.
just get on this paddle boat and all the They Live zombie goos are like, "Meow."
Good call.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going in that water.
Yeah, they just paddle off.
Did you notice the one zombie who was trying really hard to make it seem like he wasn't pushing the boat away from the shore
Ah, I did.
while getting his ass
I
kicked?
gotta go back and watch it. I gotta see it now.
Was that Rob Zombie?
It might have been.
I knew it.
This movie, better than anything Rob Zombie has ever directed.
That's that.
Then, as people do, people get hungry. So Mo and Chocolate Chip Charlie go to a diner, and Mo immediately says, "We've got to split up." And
Yeah.
this is super bizarre. I just like it doesn't play off like it's real, but just spoiler.
Nothing makes sense about this.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
why is he going to Washington, D.C. to talk to Frank Herbert? Because I don't think he's ever brought up again.
Yeah, so he goes, "You need to talk to Special Agent Frank Herbert. You need to go to Washington, and I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, I'm sending you on this mission."
And he's like, I'm going to get there by fucking hitching a ride with these strangers.
Right. He just turns around and is like, "Who's going up the road?" And like some guys are like, "I am." He's like, "Great, I'm
Very
gonna
cool,
hit you." Yeah. So the whole thing seems like really fake. But spoiler, later on, we will see Mo or David ask that of Chocolate Chip Charlie. Like, "Hey, you never said if you met up with Frank Herbert." And I was like, was that a real thing? like I thought he was just like breaking up with you, buddy. like this guy's like, I gotta
easier
go.
if we
Out of here,
split up,
chocolate
yeah.
chip Charlie.
Yeah, this is planes, trains, and automobiles. Like, here's some money. Like, I don't need it. Hey, buy your kid a chocolate bunny or something, or chocolate turkey. Like,
Yeah.
like I gotta get out of here. Yeah, super, super weird. And then again, we see another hard cut. Street vendors selling the stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the stuff. I do like these threads. These are my favorite parts of the movie. Because there's a lot of weird hard cuts, but the dispersal of these commercials or seeing these shacks or these restaurants, I really do feel that's what makes it extra fun, that you just see it's growing, it's consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think part of so they're on the boat, they go to the diner. The whole point of that hard cut from the boat to the diner was solely to show, because when they get in there, he's like, hey, do you have some stuff? And they're like, no, we're sold out. And then they go to the back and there's a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really
Yeah.
establishing like that there's something funky going on. And that 3 seconds is the entire reason for this, minute
That's a
scene.
great point, Colin.
Oh, yeah.
It's a setup,
Yeah.
just the environment behind it.
Yeah, because they could have told him to go to DC while they're still on the boat.
Right.
Right.
Hey.
No, there's no talking on the boat, Colin.
More hard cuts. More cuts.
The boat was
Just
silence.
More hard cuts. That's all it is.
So Mo makes his way to the CEO of the stuff, and that guy highlights, oh, I don't eat this, but there's been tests and everything's cool.
He makes his way. He's kidnapped and brought there.
Oh, well. You make your way one way or another.
Get there one way.
There's like a
Yeah.
assault van that rolls
Yeah.
up and bags him.
Well, he makes his way there. And I like that the CEO is like, I knew we would cross paths, and here's 25K in his box.
He gives
So-
him a bribe and a job offer.
Yeah, so you're going to be working for me. And I like, again, this is the compelling part for Mo for me, is he kind of agrees. He's like, yeah, all right, like, what am I going to be doing?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really bat an eye. Just, I'm willing to float around. But you do find out, like, this guy does have, I guess, overall, a sense of right and wrong. Like, Mo, like, there is a more heroic side to him. It just, I don't know what he's doing. And if he's done all these, like, rip-off things, why does he keep doing it? He doesn't really seem to enjoy it. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of questions I have.
Yeah.
But I overall like him.
Yeah. He's playing both sides.
He seems to be like some kind of negotiator in meetings, because he's in a lot of meetings. I wrote down maybe he's in 9 or 10 meetings.
He's going to be back
in this
at the
movie.
lab here in the next 3
Yeah.
minutes.
But he has like James Bond qualities to him too that enables him to get his way out of situations that are a little tricky for him, or just get to a next level of what he has to do just easily.
Yeah.
He has powers.
Well, like Paul said, he's rolling 20s this whole movie.
He
Yeah.
is rolling 20s.
Yeah.
He's a weird dude rolling 20s. That's
Yeah.
what
Love it.
Mo is.
Well, one thing that comes from the talk is that someone, I don't know where it comes from, someone mentions a mining company. And this
Yeah.
becomes Mo's next priority.
Yeah.
That's what this whole scene was with the executive
Yeah.
of the
So
stuff.
someone could say
is
mining company.
So
Yeah.
that they can go to Midland, Georgia.
So
That's essentially what that scene's
So,
for.
yeah, so he goes right back to Nicole, who was like the marketing like executive director, that
They're-
person he hired.
They're clearly smashing now.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, he hired this woman. They said there was a dinner. It is absolutely now clear. Like, well, how about let's backtrack. We haven't seen her since, so we assume that's happened. And he's like, I'm gonna, get in touch with Nicole. And when we now see her, it is very clear they're in a long-term relationship. I just like, it's not just like they're hooking up.
Mo
It
doesn't
is-
mess around.
Yeah, like it seems like they're living together. Like later, he's like, "Come on,
yeah, they're
sweetie."
like laying in bed.
Yeah. He's got that espionage money and she wants in.
Yeah, and then they're back at the lab, and they're just like talking about something. They're reading the newspaper about Jason, and the guy, one of the scientists or lab junkies goes, "Oh man, that kid went bonkers at that supermarket."
Oh, okay.
And that's how he knows, like, oh, there's somebody else out there
Yeah,
not affected by this stuff.
I
He's got to go
totally
get
missed
this
this
kid
because
now.
the next scene is him picking up the kid, and I was like,
Yeah.
"How the fuck did they
Yeah.
run into each other?"
Well, we see more stuff commercials in the greater scheme of things, but yeah, they highlight that Jason went bonkers. Local kid goes bonkers in supermarket, and he's like, "I'm gonna go find that kid," which seems really weird. And why was that a story?
That's the weird thing.
Why was that a story?
Slow news
How
day.
did they get that story?
So I think one of the things, like this whole movie, they kind of illustrate that it's supposed to be huge in scope. Like everyone you see just has tons of this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it had such a marginal impact, and I think it must be like some local newspaper.
It is like at the end you find out just how marginal it is. You're like, oh well, fuck.
Right. That's like Jeremy all of a sudden got like a copy of the Cherry Creek Gazette.
Yeah, like, I think that's what this paper is.
Right. So now we get another hard cut, and it's Jason and his family, I believe, playing Zaxxon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for calling
He's
out.
grounded from the grocery store.
I wanted to
scene.
call out that
Yeah.
they had a ColecoVision on top of their TV.
Was it a
earlier.
Coleco?
It was.
My wife asked it. I don't think it was a Coleco. I think it was like an Amiga or something like that.
It was either a TRS 80 or a ColecoVision.
It was not a Coleco. Because we had that as when I
Didn't
was
have to be that Tandy Radio Shack 80.
Yeah, but they were playing Zaxxon. I just wanted to note that. And everyone's just sitting around eating a shit ton of stuff. And I wrote that in my notes. Shit ton of stuff.
Yeah. Can't believe he sucked that guy's Zaxxon.
And, I like this. So now the family. This is why I said there's like a conflict in this hive mind on when people become stuffies.
Stuffies.
That the family's like, come on, Jason, you gotta eat this stuff. Like they want him to eat the stuff, but then the back end is everyone's like, secretively, I want all the stuff. So it's very bizarre. But that aside, they're like, come on, Jason, and they have a real talk with him. He's like, no, I don't like it. It's alive. And Dad's like, listen, Jason, yogurt too is alive. You know, there's a bacteria in yogurt. And what about bread, Jason? You love bread, and that is yeast. And Jason's like, I don't like this bullshit. And he is freaking out. And so they're like, here's the deal, Jason. You're being a little a-hole. And you're going to eat the stuff.
They really are.
And you're just going to shut up. And weirdly, they trust him enough. You're going to go to your room.
Yeah,
They
take this by yourself.
Well, just know this.
Into your
You're
room
gonna
and close the door.
Well, yeah, you're going to go to your bedroom, close the door, and eat it. So he goes right upstairs into the bathroom and shuts the door in front of everyone. Goes right into the bathroom. Promptly dumps the stuff in a toilet, which tries to fight back, which is amazing. Then I have to say this. It's a mixture of last ditch brilliance versus you're the biggest moron on earth, Jason. So he fills the stuff up with shaving cream, like the empty container.
God damn it.
And just starts eating it.
Well, yeah, he goes back downstairs. He's like, I just gonna finish this stuff first. He's eating
Why
the
couldn't he
goddamn
have
shaving
just
cream.
gone downstairs and run out the front door? And be
Right,
like, all right,
'cause he's a
I'm gonna
fucking
skip
idiot.
eating this shaving cream.
He could have gone downstairs and been like, look, I ate it all.
That's
Right,
the thing.
'cause,
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
idiot.
Okay, so that's what I agree with you, Collin. If you're trying to give the idea that you ate all of this, you don't need to fill the whole thing up and eat it in front of everyone. They just told you, go to your room and eat it. So, yes, as gross as it is, he should have dumped it out and maybe had like a couple pieces of shaving cream, and then he could have just kind of put it on his lips and like ate it a little bit. But he's trying to eat a full pint of shaving cream.
Motherfucker, mouthful after mouthful. Just shoving it in. What the fuck?
And he's taking it.
You know, that's his football name, Mouthful.
After mouthful. That's his last name.
Yeah, bad
damn
plan,
it.
dude.
Yeah. Well, so
I bet his breath smells good.
No,
Yeah.
No, it
because
smells like
remember
old shaving
then he
cream.
just vomits everywhere.
well, yeah,
Oh,
he chooses it out of the house, and Mo picks him up, who just happens to be
Yeah,
there.
so here's a fun thing that
The
you're not going
timing
to
was
see
perfect.
out of the 1985 era. Imagine your child freaks out and runs into the street, and a man goes, "Get into my car." Well, that happened.
Right. And the parents are like, well, not our problem anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember how he convinces them to really get in the car outside of just saying, like, get in the car. And yes, his parents and family are after him, but now they're just leaving.
Right.
He does say something like I saw them move too, or something like that. To be
Oh,
like-
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
To gain the trust.
And to be honest, I'm kind of on the parents' side. Jason sucks.
Yeah, no.
Jason does suck.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
down one kid. This is perfect.
If someone was to pee on someone's dinner, it's the world on Jason's dinner.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's troll too, but, you know, someone better be peeing on Jason's
So,
dinner.
yeah,
at
he
some
throws
point.
up
Jason
into
doesn't
his
belong
car.
in the nuclear stuffy family.
No,
No.
he's got bigger things.
Yeah.
Starting with throwing up. And this leads to my second favorite Mo line, which was, well, everybody has to eat shaving cream once in a while.
I also wrote that down.
That is a good line.
Yeah, they're introducing each other, and that comes up because he's like, everyone was after me, and I need shaving cream. And that's his reply, which is super, super weird.
And immediately, Mo takes him to a private airplane to go to Georgia.
Immediately.
Yeah.
These are part of the hard cuts that this movie loves.
These are my notes. On the plane, Mo plus Nicole plus Jason equals hell of a team.
They got a team going. This is it.
Criminal Minds.
This is one of the hard cuts that I actually was willing to accept because they did reference it at the scientist's office. Because when he calls her honey and tells the scientist to drop her off at the airport for some reason.
Yeah, that is the exact moment where I thought these two are living together. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, I'm going to buy your company, and I work for petroleum, and now you're a director, and you work for me. Let's get for some dinner, honey.
And for the exact but another thing that makes me not really care for this movie at all is part of the honey is he confessed to her that he was a saboteur. Like, she didn't fucking know. He just previously confessed to her that the goo was being crazy.
Goo.
So the order of that conversation didn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Sorry, I shouldn't have. We don't want to backtrack because we could go all the way back to the beginning and start this whole thing over.
No, let's
rewind.
Well, now we're on a plane, and the plane lands. We're in Midland, Georgia, and Jason's asleep, and Nicole and Mo get off. They tell the pilot, just let him sleep, and if we're not back soon, just drive him to Atlanta, and we'll just get them there. And that's it. And they accept that is going to happen in a world that they live in. So I felt, if we're going to watch...
Pilot's like, whose kid is this again? What?
Yeah, I felt if we're going to watch something that's kind of modern and compare this to, is The Last of Us. Can you imagine, you are in the know of, a zombie kind of apocalypse coming through grain or rice or some kind of product, and you're just like, hey, I just trust everyone. If we're not back in a few hours, drive this kid to Atlanta. We'll be there.
Hey, person I've never met before.
Right, I don't know what room or airport you'll be in, but just make sure he's there. And in a world without cell phones, I'm sure I'm just going to find him somewhere.
Right, just drop him off in Atlanta.
Right.
City limits, we'll find him.
Yeah, so as is, they do that, and then, who's it? The weird shopkeeper, the Stuffy, jumps out and kills the pilot soon after. And goo everywhere.
The goo's all over the plane.
Yeah, now the goo's getting more aggressive.
Wait, who was
the goo's angry?
The shopkeeper.
Yeah.
From 2 pounds ago?
Yes.
No, the post office. The post office guy.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
He gets around.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who
It's
this
true,
was.
Colin.
Some random
He
guy.
really was.
Yeah, so I think the shopkeeper just ran out a window and then snuck
he
around.
makes another appearance
Yes.
later in the movie.
He ran out of that shop all the way to Georgia. He's been running all night.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
He could have been in the pipes of that plane.
That's true. Yeah.
Once you
He's in the
transform
luggage
into goo,
compartment.
you can do whatever you want.
I don't know. There's not a lot of room in those small planes.
Well, there's enough room in the pipes.
There's some goo, yeah.
Wow. So yeah. So Jason finds a cave.
Yeah, he runs
Oh yeah, he just
from
runs.
the airplane to a cave.
Jason is such a dipshit. For so many reasons.
damn it, yes.
So here's a fun one. Here's example 1,000 of Jason just being a dipshit. So he runs and runs because he's like, there's a goo guy trying to get me. So he runs to that silo quarry. And so here's the thing. He sees these workers, but approaches all of their stuff and starts tinkering and puts himself in a vat. Imagine this.
Oh yeah,
Don't get me started on him getting in that truck.
Well, imagine this. You're on the side of a mountain, and you're like, there's 5 evil workers next to me. I'm going to go walk up to all of their stuff. Oh, now they're coming out? Now I need to hide in a vat. There was no reason he should have approached that truck or their stuff. He saw it from a
Jason,
distance.
man. He has
That's why he's a
impulse control
dipshit.
Yeah,
issues.
he's all over the place.
I'm surprised that
That's
they
the real
didn't see
drinking
him.
game.
Yeah.
Jason being a dipshit.
He's
He
kind of
wouldn't survive.
sneaking around this factory like a ninja, but you can clearly see him a mile away.
Yeah, sneaking around like a ninja. It's like Scooby-Doo shit he's
It
pulling
is.
off. And he gets in an empty tanker
That
truck.
is the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
You're all
Like,
right.
what did he think was the next move for that truck?
I don't know.
He'll probably leave it empty and drive it somewhere safe, and I'll get out. That's normal truck stuff.
No one will ever close this one lid.
No, yeah.
Well, I just really need to paint the picture of the setting again. So again, imagine 50 miles of flat land in one mountain. And he's behind that mountain and sees everything and could stay behind that mountain safely for as long as he wants and go in any other direction. But the only direction he goes to is the open direction with all of the evil employees.
Right.
Well, he's angry at the goo. He's going to seek his
I
revenge.
guess. Yeah, his rage had
He's
blinded.
blinded by rage.
But he had no logic to begin with, so
No.
it just made him
he did
extra.
not.
The goo has dumbed him in a different way.
It has.
It's the side effect. Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm a lawyer. And has the goo affected you or a loved one? Call my law office.
Are you experiencing any of the following? So anyway, meanwhile, Mo and What's-Her-Face are touring the facility now.
I love this.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, she's like, I want to shoot a commercial. Can we show it having the ingredients be put together?
Which is kind of a genius plan. Like,
Right.
Like, hey, we just want to market this, and the hive mind is like, yes. But it's weird because the guy giving him the tour doesn't seem like he's gooed out. Only
Yeah.
the other employees, and he makes joke of it. He says, yeah, sometimes it's hard for them not to eat all of it. Ha, 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 ha. But he seems very with it, where everyone else is just,
Right.
of the goo mind.
Except one security guy who comes up, he's like, you shouldn't be taking pictures here, as if Mo was taking pictures just nonchalantly in the background.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah, you do
Yeah,
have
you do
questions because later on, all these people, are dead and the goo has vacated them.
Yeah.
So, like, why do some
Yeah.
have control over themselves and others
That's
don't?
true.
This scene reminds me, Lamar and Mike, we watched a couple years ago, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
And the guy does a similar thing. He's like, let's go tour the facilities of where they make these masks. And they just go in as a couple. They're like, we love this stuff. But yeah, they're trying to go undercover. And it kind of works here. I mean, they get enough information. They know
Yeah.
things are super weird.
They won't show them the ingredients, though.
Yeah, they ask way
Yeah.
too many questions, and then the goo people become suspicious. They're like, you know what? We're going to extend the tour. We put you up in a motel. We're going to drive you there, and tomorrow you're going to have another tour, but it's clearly a setup.
Right.
You're going to have another tour.
So now at the motel, they're boning or whatever. No one seems to care where Jason has run off to.
No, he's like, there's a moment he's like, it's a good thing Jason's in Atlanta. Like, they totally think that is happening.
Just in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're like, we'll see that little scamp soon. Like, I don't remember exactly what they say, but there is like some dialogue that they acknowledge that, and I was like, you're like, dude, what?
I kind of took this as like the same thing with Chocolate Chip Charlie earlier. Like, we're just trying to get rid of this kid. Like, just take him to Atlanta and drop him off.
That's true.
Spoiler: we're gonna see Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Oh
kinda
yeah,
soon.
we are.
So yeah, after hanging out sex stuff, the goo comes
goo.
out of the pillow, and it's amazing. It latches on to Mo's face like it's an alien face hugger. I love every moment of this. So you know what's handy in a motel? When you just have a crystal vase of lamp oil.
Yeah, a kerosene lamp
Is that
in a motel.
Was it lamp oil? I thought it was like brandy or something.
I think it was a kerosene
I think
lamp.
it was lamp oil.
It was lamp oil in the brandy can.
Yeah, I thought it was what do they call it? The decanter
Like a
or
decant-
something.
I read it as a kerosene lamp, but I could have been off.
Yeah, I also wrote lamp oil question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now everything's on fire,
Yeah.
including Mo's face.
Right,
But it's
so-
cool; it burns off.
Yeah, Mo now has goo and fire on his face.
Yeah, but he just takes it out, and everything's okay. And then they jump in a truck as the whole motel is burning down, and he says, "We'll take our own guided tour." And I took that he was going back to the facilities, but he is not. He is not initially, which is weird. So again, he's like, "We'll take our own guided tour," and I was like, "Okay, of the facilities," but that is not where he is going.
No.
Where does he go?
I don't know. I have to look in my notes. I know Jason.
I don't know. It's
know-
not
I
in my
think they-
notes.
all right.
Well, Jason. Well, it's a cut to Jason, who's just trapped in.
He's still in that fucking tank.
Yeah, he's in the vat of the truck tank. Yeah, so he's doing that.
Well, we have Mo suiting up.
Yeah.
Mo and Nicole get on foot to avoid making any noise next to the quarry facilities.
So
Okay.
when they were driving away, most said that they were going to go back to the factory to investigate at night when no one was there, and then never did.
Right.
They went to the quarry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he lied to us, the audience.
I think they're both next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then there's a stuff
Sure.
pool.
Yeah,
So
they
we're at the
could be.
quarry, and there's just a pool. And my note, pool of goo.
Yeah, this is where it comes from.
Yeah. I mean, when
And they've
you-
built
when
a
you-
$1 billion industry
when
on
you-
this
when
that
you-
nobody knows.
When you would see it, you would just get on your knees and eat it with both hands, right, Jeremy? Like, yeah. When you visit us here in October, is there anything you want to bring back, like for the wife and kids? Because if it's a vial of goo,
I'm getting some of that Denver goo.
I don't know where you get that. But let me know.
we could put out a Craigslist ad.
You don't want that goo. Don't take
Searching
that.
for Denver goo.
Don't take that. Don't take it.
If it cheers you up, it's just for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, if it's for your kids, you can take that. That's fine. Kid goo. That's fine.
Kids love goo. That's what I hear anyway.
Well, well, Mo has a plan. So he gets his disguise of stuff worker, which is like a yellow hazmat suit, kind of.
Yeah. And he has like C4 ankle bracelets.
Yeah,
that he's wearing around.
this is dope. This is like
Yeah.
his G.I. Joe like outfit. Yeah, totally, Mike. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he starts putting these like bracelets around his arm and his ankle, and I was like, "What?" And they're plastic explosives, which is crazy. And then he's like, "Hey, Nicole, meet me at this other place," and she's like, "No problem."
Great. Whatever you want, Mo.
Where did he get these plastic explosives?
He brought
Where
them from home.
didn't he?
He's always had them.
Yeah, this guy is prepared. This guy's
this
awesome.
movie is crazy because like sometimes you're like, how did this happen? And like some like people pay attention. They're like, these 3 words that explains it. Like, yeah, where did he get these plastic explosives? But he needed them to progress the movie into the next scene.
I will say this outside of this movie, and a spoiler that Mo is not gonna die. I would have loved to see a sequel where it doesn't have to be about the goo and the stuff, just this character doing other stuff. I said this about another a movie too. Imagine, who did we say? It was Tone Loc. I was like, imagine the series of movies. Tone Loc was always the detective, and he was partnered with zany people.
Right.
So, one was Ace Ventura. What was the movie we watched where he was partnered with someone? It was Surf Ninjas.
Surf Ninjas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. So imagine this guy, Mo. He is just this like weird corporate spy himself, and he's just in a trilogy of movies, and everything has to do with something different. Like this
Right.
was the stuff. The next one could be like straight up aliens, or like other in a different way, or something.
So
or
you want Mo to be like the next Jack Ryan, where
Yes.
he's just getting into shenanigans. Yeah,
I think that would be
in
like
an unrelated way.
Yeah, because as Jeremy's saying, this movie's insane. And as Mike pointed out, this guy just has C4 bracelets like rolling around in his trunk. Like,
Yeah.
Like if this guy has this kind of access and he's got a lab, like he's working with Q and he's James Bond, like this is dope. What's his pad like? Like we totally talk about cool bedrooms.
Oh,
and
his
cool...
pad's got to be fresh.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I would have totally taken a trilogy with David Mo Rutherford at any point in time.
What if he teamed up with Tone Loc?
Oh my God, Mike, that would just be one. That would be the ultimate crossover.
Yeah.
That's where the trilogies touch tips.
Ooh.
Tip touching over here. God damn.
This is just one scene. Like, I kind of challenge anyone to identify when this movie goes off the rails.
This movie started off. There were
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
rails. Colin, there
when
were
the
no
old
rails.
man sucked down a mouthful of that goo in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like, all right,
10 seconds in.
get ready, guys.
Maybe 30 minutes in, maybe 55 minutes in, maybe 56 minutes in. Yeah, it could have been any time.
There's another part where the movie can go just absolutely wrong, and you get the bad parts of Mo, where he's just negotiating with FDI, FBA, or FDA people for like the whole movie. If you're trying to like put him as a James Bond figure, you want to see a movie about Mo doing Mo things, but he's really a boring guy if you think about it.
But he's in dope situations. We might not know his backstory, but he is doing such fun stuff. He's got fun lines all throughout. All of a sudden, he's
Doing
like,
God's work.
yeah, he's like picking up women like, hey, I just bought your company and now we're going to get married. Like, I don't know. Like, I am totally willing to see this guy through.
Yeah, he inserts himself into potentially career-ending moves. Has C4 wherever he goes. Do you think he's a boring guy?
Also,
point,
side
good
note,
point.
he's got a disguise. He's straight up is like, I got to stuff workers and
Good
Hey,
point.
he's the only guy on the entire compound wearing cowboy
Where'd he
boots.
get that
with this
disguise
fucking plastic
anyway?
shit.
Also note, did you see?
always had it.
Did you
Ah,
see
shit.
the GD confidence this guy had walking into the stuff?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
comes in,
He
man.
said
Comes
something
in
to someone.
hot.
He's like, "Hey, Dave." Like he says,
Yeah.
like, he straight up says.
Do
something.
they have name tags? Did you know that guy's
He's like-
name?
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, Dave, see you at dinner or see you
Yeah.
later." I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, dude, you
Yeah.
are being so blatant."
Oh
about
yeah,
this.
he's just
It's-
big dicking everybody, and then, like somehow the only piece of the outfit he doesn't have is the hat. And he just knocks a guy out and takes his hat.
Yeah,
Well, I thought it was like one of the guys from the factories recognized him.
Oh, was that
Who
it?
came to like follow him, hunt him down,
Okay.
and he does this one punch
Yeah.
knockout.
Well, he got the hat though. So.
Well, he's also Jedi drawn to the vat tank that has Jason because you hear like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
the goo!" Because they're filling it with
filling-
goo,
yeah.
of course.
Well, he was going to steal the truck to profit or whatever step 3 is.
So he put up the C4s, I guess, strategically around this quarry.
Yeah.
And he said to Nicole, "Yeah, like, I'm gonna get one truck, but like I'll handle this." And no one really knows what this means. But the ultimate plan was, I'm gonna get one truck, I'm gonna use it as evidence, but I'm gonna destroy everything else. So I'll like have all that's left. Everyone in theory will be safe, but I'll have this, and we got to shut down anyone else. And then he's gonna steal this truck that just so happens, like a lottery ticket on the face of the earth. He is drawn, and he's like, "Oh, Jason, don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of this." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But the stuff's in here. Goo.
Yeah, I like that he recognizes that Jason is in there. There is goo in there, and he dicks around for like 20 minutes
Get here like a bat.
before he bothers.
He really does.
Also, they put like just enough goo to menace Jason in the tank,
Yeah.
but not enough to like fill it up. So it's like chasing him around the tank.
And it's really bad CGI.
But- oh
It's
my
just-
God.
that's
Green
not-
screen.
That line does.
Yeah.
Now we get during all this, Nicole is driving off, and she gets attacked by the shopkeep again. Shopkeep's
Yeah,
back.
he's everywhere.
Someone
The
keeps letting
same
him back
guy?
in.
Was it really?
Yeah, who keeps letting him in?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's relentless. This is alpha shopkeep.
Because I saw he was wearing yellow, so I thought that he was one of the guys from the quarry.
Maybe they only had a couple extras, and he just had to wear a few hats.
Collin, this is like an old school video game where like there's so few meters that you have pissed off the shopkeep so much that no matter what you do for the rest of this game, this guy will haunt you like a goddamn nightmare. Like he will come out of the bushes, he'll come out of a truck, he will get on a pilot or a plane and then kill your pilot and goo you all over. This guy cannot be stopped.
He just has.
Well, his days are numbered, though.
Yeah, he's gonna be stopped.
He immediately gets run over by a truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A goo truck.
Mo's truck.
Yeah.
Everything is kismet in this movie. You got Jason in a vat. You've got Mo running down Goo Guy right before he kills his lady.
Yeah.
And she's
And
okay.
the goo squirts out of him.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is so gross. And if this movie is good for anything, it is the super, like, cheesy, gross
Oh, yeah.
effects.
Yeah.
That's true.
So they're driving along, and a cop pulls over the truck, and
They're all stuffies.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
stuffies. We get the first comment that someone is a stuffy, like a walker in The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do want to note this. So the cop's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And they're like, "We've got some stuff in the back," and they're pretending like they're brain dead zombies.
Oh yeah, they're doing the stuff fake.
They're like, "I'm just so hungry, and the boy hasn't eaten for a while, and you want some stuff." And clearly the cop's in on it, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So they go over to check out the leak, and I do note they pretend there is a leak of stuff, and they pretend to start eating it, but on both the actors, it's all
on their
over the face
face. Yeah,
and
I saw
lips
that.
and lips, face and lips. I'm like, dude, you're stuffies now. Like you took it too far, but. I guess I was looking too much into the movie.
Yeah.
I wish it showed them
Took
like
it too far.
smushing it,
Rubbing
rubbing
it
their
on their
mouths.
face.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
No.
Yeah, well, then they beat the officer and drive off, and everything's cool. Where do I get? Oh yeah, that's what I wrote. Nicole has stuff all over her mouth, and then they drive to a castle.
Yeah. A castle occupied by Paul Sorvino.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he goes. At first, they're having the conversation. They're like, "Let's go to the next town." He's like, "No, that's too small of a town. The stuffies are going to control that town." And he's like, "We have to go to a big city," and they go to a castle.
Right.
yeah, and they know a guy. So Colonel Spears, And the way Mo works himself into this is it's very 28 days later. He gets an encampment. He kind of knows what's happening. He gets out of the car, and a bunch of military people pop out of the bushes. And then they take him, and he says a couple things like, I know Colonel Spears, he wants to talk to me, blah, blah, blah. And he works his way up to talk to Colonel Spears. Basically, he's noting he's got a bunch of creepy sex tapes of him and a 17-year-old. And Colonel Spears is about to fly off the handle and threatens, I could throw you off this tower. He's like, hey, buddy, I'm not going to use it. I was just saying that stuff, even though I have it.
Turns into Pauly Shore.
Yeah,
Right.
even though I have it,
Buddy.
I'm not going to use it. It was just so I could talk to you. And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, man, you know who I am. He's like, yeah, you're a crook and, you're thrown out of the FBI. He's like, of course, but you had some conspiracy ideas and they were correct. So I'm not going to use those sex tapes against you because you're a pervy creep. I'm just going to highlight that. I think you're great. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, cool.
Also, it's worth noting the amount of time that was dedicated in the movie to this exchange was a small fraction of the time that Paul just spent explaining it.
Yeah.
And that's not a diss on you. That's just
No,
how
no,
passively this movie
that's
is
right.
addressing everything.
Everything's explained in 15-second chops, and
But-
everything
Yeah.
can be solved in a 30-second chop.
Also, Colonel Paul Sorvino has taken a liking to Mo's lady friend.
Dear
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, he
I
wants
thought
to
that
vote her
was so
bad.
funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so well they note, and going back to the same premise in The Last of Us, Mo tells Colonel Spears, he said, you had a theory that people could get controlled, like brain control, we've thought of fluoride and various other things, but it could be more extreme. Well, it's happening, and you're right. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting, because that is what is happening, so this guy might want to get involved. Colonel Spears is a super big weirdo, and then we get an exchange of very weird dialogue. At one point in time, Colonel Spears goes over to Jason, and he's like, we've got to do this for America. We can't, have this on our soil. And he says, we've never lost a war. And Jason, out of nowhere, this little dipshit goes, didn't we lost that war in Nam? And he goes, son, we lost that war at home. I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, Jason, you shut your effing little mouth. Like, you're 12 years old and you're amongst the military in a world-ending predicament. Holy
Well, I think
God.
this is like a militia.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
I'm not
I was gonna
mistaken.
say, like-
Definitely not.
Oh,
military.
yeah.
I don't think this is on the books here.
Yeah, this is a militia.
He is the colonel by name
I
already.
would say it's this because we learn later that
Because
Colonel
they
Spears,
take cabs.
yeah, Colonel
God
Spears,
damn it.
yeah, Colonel Spears is very well funded. So I don't feel this is militia. I feel this is like soldier of fortune.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he's
for sure.
very
People are like
much.
getting hired out for like weird stuff, and he's like, "This is my group, and we get a lot of money."
Well, yeah, when he commits to helping with all this, he's like, "Yeah, let's get back on our private planes. I own a few radio stations.
I own quote unquote. I own 2 radio stations in Atlanta. I'll get the word out. What the?
That's where
hell?
Jason is.
What? How many radio stations do you own, Collin?
Oh, 0.
Yeah.
Well, my offshore radio station.
I mean, I put music on SoundCloud.
Have you guys heard Rabbit Troop Sucks 3?
Oh,
Oof.
so-
It's all AI generated of all of us. Just talking about awesome stuff.
now I'm worried.
They're going to replace all of us."
Well, here's a genius plan. Now they're going to Atlanta, and the plan is I own 2 major radio stations, as one does. We're going to get the word out, I guess, as one does at the epicenter of America, Atlanta. So that's going
It
to
is the busiest airport.
And so one of my favorite parts of the movie is all these military guys or soldier or fortune guys get to the airport, and everyone gets in a fleet of cabs.
They
A
call-
fleet of yellow cabs.
They call it ahead.
They commandeer all of the yellow
And the
cabs
scene-
at the airport.
Yeah, and they get out of these cabs and
to that small town.
the next sentences that the colonel says, like about the tips, was said so oddly that it was just a hilarious.
Yes, I can't remember. Yeah, he says something like, at one point in time, the taxi driver says, as everyone's taking these cabs, he says, "Is this World War III?" And he's like, "Take me to 3rd and Main, and enough of your liberal remarks." Then, yes, later, Moments later, when they all get there, they arrive, and he is very clear to his like second in command. He's like, "You will all tip 10% to each and every cab driver,
and get receipts.
He's saying this as the townspeople. It's supposed to be Atlanta, but it looks like a small town. All these people are running in fear. They're just totally freaking out. But yes, he's making sure every cab driver gets at least 10%.
And you got to get the itemized receipt later for the expense report.
True gentleman.
Yeah.
Nicole is writing an apology letter at this point in time and an acceptance letter that she is to blame. And Mo's like, "What are you doing?" Like, Mo goes back to his kind of Han Solo ways. He's like, "Don't admit to any of this. Why are you admitting guilt?" Like, a lot of people were there. She's like, "Yeah, but I was like the marketing exec and I knew a little bit about this." He's like, "That's way more on other people, not you. Why don't we just step back?" And before that conversation fully fleshes out, boom, Chocolate Chip Charlie. Back, friends.
They let him in. They all have machine guns, and he somehow manages to make his way into the building.
Do you know who this man is, Collin? It's Chocolate Chip Charlie.
He's just been gone for half the movie. He just appears out of nowhere, just muscles his way. Let me through Chocolate Chip Jones, damn it.
Charlie.
Or
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can you imagine? Ding dong, Chocolate Chip Charlie's up at your house.
Yeah.
Are you not going to let him in?
No,
Are you not going to let him bed in your house?
That's true. He did make a good presence. He's very self-confident, and he's muscling his way through everybody.
Yeah, and so this is where he notes again, I am here for the same reasons. I got shafted. I want to let people know this corporation is corrupt. But in addition, Nicole's like, listen, he's the face of this company, so people will listen to him. So she even says, you've seen the stuffies. You've seen what the goo could do. And he's like, yeah, I could testify to all of this. Like, I will make a public statement. And then we get Colonel, what was it? Colonel whatever? I can't remember Colonel's name.
I didn't even write it.
Spears. Sorry. Colonel Spears.
Spears.
Colonel Spears comes in like a huge jackass. And this is his little conversation. I will permit this colored man to speak. What? like what the hell is this? Yeah, he's gonna let Chocolate Chip Charlie go to the public, but he's like, you can't like
You mentioned commie line.
Yeah, you can't say
we're
no
talking
bullshit.
code.
Or if you speak code, I will shoot you in the face.
So all of a sudden, Colonel Spears, who was a weird eclectic, turns out just to be a blatant racist piece of shit. So
Kind of bizarre.
yeah, what the hell was this? It comes out of nowhere. But this also comes out of nowhere. Chocolate Chip Charlie, no, he's a stuffy.
I wrote in my notes.
Hidden
no.
Did you say he was a stuffy in your notes?
I said his head fell off.
Yeah.
Mine is he's a stuffy.
You called him out.
No one like attacks him or any. Well, his head just falls off and it kind of explodes.
He's trying to explain to.
It was the racism. Even the
He's
goo
just a
doesn't
goo
like him.
capsule.
He's trying to explain to the woman. Yeah, I've seen what they can do, and as he's explaining it, then this stuff starts coming out of his mouth as she's like, "What do you mean you've seen what the stuff can do?" And it's this CGI effect I really liked. This is where their CGI budget went, because
Like
you can
his
actually
neck
see it.
going
You
crazy.
can see the up close his neck and his face and his mouth just opens up to weird alien proportions as the ooze just oozes out of his mouth.
Goo.
Goo,
There's stuff
ooze,
budget.
slime, whatever you want. It's all coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they take it out, and Colonel Spears quickly gets on the radio highlighting that there is a straight-up alien attack. Mm-hmm. And Nicole...
Well, Mo electrocutes the stuff first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he chopped. Then they got to move to a different studio because the other one doesn't have power now.
Yeah, sorry. Go.
Luckily, he owns two.
There was like a chunk of this where like so the goo all spills out of Chocolate Chip Charlie. Part of it jumps on what's her name's face, but he electrocutes it, and then all of a sudden that doesn't matter anymore. Like she's fine.
Yeah.
It just
Everyone's
it,
always fine.
It fell off. Yeah.
I mean, Mo had he got gooed in the face too.
Yeah, but his face
the
got lit
hotel.
on fire.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna like electrocute her face or something like that, and it just kind of.
They thought about it.
Yeah, and it's a real weird leap at this point in time. So now Nicole is sort of narrating through the movie. You see her, and you'll also hear some overdub of narrations, and she's highlighting that since the radio broadcast, people have banned together. People have banned using any of or eating and consuming any of the goo. Public displays of people burning it. They blow up the restaurants and all the warehouses. And she's highlighting, I'm saying all this from a teleprompter, and we see that from the view of a TV screen. And she goes, what I'm really saying is I'm selling you an apology, and just walks off. And we do have a couple narrations later, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did say that thousands of people died.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean,
it's like mentioned offhand by Mo. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, that kid's family's dead, so I don't know. I guess he's with us now.
Oh, well, that comes back a little bit too.
So,
he's going to put him into the espionage business.
Yeah.
like after Chocolate Chip Charlie died, so they're trying to decide who's going to be the one to present this broadcast, and the colonel does it, and he's just like, listen, you guys know me, I have your best interest at heart, stop eating this stuff.
Yeah.
And then everyone just kind of does.
Yeah.
I think Mo does a
right.
little announcement too. Is I think the Colonel and the Mo, they do it like a joint announcement. And like Mo's like, burn all his stuff if you see it.
He's like, cook it or whatever.
Or cook it. And it's like, it's not toxic, just burn it.
Yeah. Well,
And through the slow transition, it shows it's people burning it in the street and just whatever. The stuff is evil.
And
no.
The Gooby gun.
Then Mo goes to visit the stuffed bigwig.
yeah, so we go back to the CEO of the stuff, and what is a bit of a surprise is the original CEO guy who tried to get the recipe, who hired Mo to begin with, is also there.
They're in cahoots.
Yeah, he's like, well, we just teamed up and decided to work together. And, we're not going to have this stuff anymore. We have a thing called The Taste, and it's balanced. It has a little bit of the stuff, plus dairy. Not enough to, control your brain, but, enough for people to buy it and stuff. And Mo doesn't like this. And Mo's like, wow, you guys are both pieces of shit. And see that kid over there? Well, his parents are dead, and his family is dead, and his life's ruined because of all of your crap. And here's what's going to happen. And just takes out a gun and says, you're both going to eat this case of stuff. And they're like, no, we would never. And then they do. And as time lapses, I guess, there was beyond just that one case, because then the camera starts panning backwards and, almost like we see like the bird's eye view as it pans back and back and back. And then you see dozens upon dozens of empty pint glasses or pint cups, and all the stuff has been eaten by these guys, and they're controlled. And you hear the or the police sirens. They're like, "Hey, just in time," and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best scene in the movie. It reminds me of Lucky Number 11.
I like that movie
Oh, yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the end scene is like we now see the emerging stuff black market,
Yes,
where it's like a back of a van deal.
and that's the very last scene.
Yeah.
People are still selling the stuff.
Well, in case there's a stuff too possibility, you got to end on that.
The end. Well, before we give you our final reviews, as always, thanks for listening. And if you would like to reach out to us, hit us up at our Gmail, rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If you have any movie suggestions, especially around Halloween, we'll send you a shot glass. We'd like to hear from you. Feel free to go to our webpage, proper, rabbittroopsucks.com. We stream anywhere podcasts stream, including that webpage. And you could go to Facebook or Instagram and let us know any films that you might like to see, or if you've seen this stuff or have questions or like to discuss it more. And yeah, how did everyone like the stuff? Goo!
Let's start with Collin.
How'd you like the goo, Collin? The movie's called The Goo.
This is the worst movie that I think I've seen on
Wow.
this podcast.
Wow.
The cutscenes were stupid. The plot was stupid. The weaknesses and strengths of the goo changed. Nothing was consistent. This movie was rated 5.9 on IMDb, and that was too high. Some other 5.9 ratings are Cocaine Bear, the 2016 Suicide Squad, Bill and Ted's Face the Music, 2017 Power
Cocaine
Rangers,
Bear only got
2021
5.0.
Candyman. All those stupid fucking movies are better than this stupid fucking movie.
People love the goo.
I think the only reason it could even get that high was because some of the dialogue was kind of funny. some of the characters were kind of enjoyable.
Maybe the ratings are because people also have drinking games. Like,
Yeah.
I love this movie. Goo.
So I'm out on it.
I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Hard cut.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That's the theme of the movie.
Wait, guys, watch this. Bye. He's left. Oh my god.
Colin's gone,
So
wow.
angry, so angry. Lamar, what are you thinking about the stuff?
Hard cut to Lamar. It was fun. I liked it all right. 1985 was a magical year for me and movies.
Yes.
There's a lot of great movies that came out in 85. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but if I think of 85, I just think of just great movies.
Well, Lamar, we've talked about it for years. 84 to 86
Yep,
is like
that
just
was-
like holy god.
Yeah, it's not just 85, it's 84 and 86. That 3-year period makes up, I want to say, of my childhood, probably the greatest 3-year period of movies ever. The stuff I've never seen, unfortunately, it falls into that category, and I wish I'd seen it back then. It probably would have added to the nostalgia factor, and probably that's where it should just stay, because it's a nostalgia movie. It's not good, and in my opinion, but it's fun. I can't remember who said it at the beginning of this podcast review, but it was fun for me to see it for the first time, especially 20, 30 years later, just seeing it for the first time and knowing all the tropes that it's involved. Just like I mentioned, it reminds me of that Star Trek, the Next Generation episode.
Now I want to go watch that episode.
And now you have to go see that episode. It's called The Game. It's a Wesley Crusher episode. So
boo.
strap into that. It's my favorite Wesley Crusher episode, if you want to go for that.
The one thing about this movie, though, if you think about all the things we talked about, this movie was only 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
It felt
It was 90, I
longer,
think, yeah.
and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the long hard cuts and the long scenes that are in between, but
Yeah.
it
It's 'cause
felt like 2 hours, but it was 90 minutes.
Yeah, they
Even
jam-packed a
further,
lot
you
of
had
stuff.
to infer so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I liked it.
Yeah. Top 3 popularity 85 movies: The Goonies, Back to the Future, Breakfast Club.
Oh, there you go.
Number 4, the stuff. Mike, what are you thinking of the stuff?
Yeah, Mike.
No, this movie's fun for me. So I'm glad that like we have a back-to-back RTS members having the worst movie experience of their life. I would rather watch this movie every day for the rest of my life than ever have to watch Dead Man's Curve ever again. This movie's fun. Like the kind of like the wannabe Cronenberg vibe that this movie had was fine for me. It's very of the time. The characters have like weird, goofy charisma somehow. Everyone's kind of an extreme caricature of a person. I don't know. Like this movie isn't really trying to be much, but I had fun with it. That's all I got.
I think this movie's hard to compare to Dead Man's Curve only because of this. Dead Man's Curve is a mystery, so like once you see it, like you never really need to see it again. This movie is like a weird adventure romp, so like I would always like gravitate to see like a type of movie like this anytime, because it's a kid teaming up with an adult fighting goo monsters. Like it's like just way different rather than like who did it, what's happening.
That's fair. Yeah.
But like yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I've seen this movie a couple times before. If this movie was ever remade, it could totally be done, and it could be done in a super awesome way. It would probably need to be a period piece, like keep it in the 80s, just like totally tighten up the story of what's going on and like things that are happening.
Yeah, this plot line doesn't work with cell phones and the internet.
Yeah. But like I mean you could like redo this and have a lot of fun and make it like a campy fun thing and have, you know, a bunch of notable actors and just really just tighten up the cohesion of what's going on. And as Collin noted, like the strengths of this thing and like what can this stuff do? Who's in control? Like maybe actually like flesh out a story so that we're not like some people are sort of mind controlled where some people aren't. Like we don't really know what's going on.
Also, like establish an end game, because what the stuff was attempting to do
Underpants gnomes
was never.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah.
First you eat the stuff, then question mark, then make profit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad Jeremy gave us as a recommendation. I knew when you started giving us lists of movies that like this was going to come up, and this is a little insight to some Halloween stuff. We're going to do one other episode, but after that episode, we're in October Halloween weather. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, what's your final review? You're the one who wanted to watch the stuff. I know you wanted to see it,
this is like it's a great movie to discuss. Like, is this a movie that I'm watching over and over again? No way. I mean, it's a dumb movie, but it's hilarious. Like the first, like you watch it a couple times because the characters are, as Mike described, so freaking odd. Like all of them are.
What were the circumstances?
In good ways and bad ways.
What were the circumstances that you first watched this movie?
Yeah.
How did you find
So this came out in 85. I mean, I was born in 78. And, I mean, so I did not see this when it came out. This is something that happened later. But I used to work at a video store. And, I mean, I watched countless movies because I had enough credits in high school that I didn't have to go to school all the time, so I just worked at a video store. I left high school at 11:30 in the morning and went and worked at a video store. Nobody's renting movies, and so I just watched movies all day.
That sounds awesome.
It does.
What the hell? That sounds like the dream job for 80s or early 90s.
Next week's movie is basically the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I watched all sorts of crazy movies from the 80s. Yeah.
I accept.
Wow.
And this is one of them where you're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that does lead us that from Jeremy's recommendation to Collin's, we will be watching Wizards from 1977. It will be our first animated movie that we cover. And Collin, may God help you.
Yeah. I like
I'm
that you
excited
recommended
for it.
this movie specifically because you thought it would be a culmination of many things that I hate.
Well, I think it was to alleviate. It has as many characteristics of things that you won't hate.
Okay.
It'll give you new things to hate.
I see.
Here's a little side note that I'm going to give you, Collin. I don't think Mike usually likes animated films. So,
I don't think it matters.
okay. Okay.
I
Wizards
would
is the
say
best
that
ending of
Wizards
any movie
is
I've ever
more
seen.
like art than.
I
an
totally
animated-
agree with you. I totally agree.
I
Well-
can't wait.
Maybe, Mike, what's the drink preference that you'll be having with this movie?
I don't know. Well, I'll have to think on that.
What drink does this movie pair with?
Absinthe.
Mike, before you watch Wizards, you need to watch Dead Man's Curve in reverse. Just literally rewind it,
Yeah.
vocals and all. It's gonna give you tips and secrets.
That's how you
about
find
Wizards.
immortality.
That's how you kick off Halloween.
I'm never doing that.
Well, we'll see you in the ear sense next time. Wizards 1977. We're gonna learn a lot about some wizards and some shaving cream and some goo. Goo! As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Goo.
In the ear sense. No, I'm not saying it.
I'm gonna keep doing that until you end it.
Colin's now dead.